Yeah, I think often people are really hard on themselves because they think each month needs to be better than the previous month. And if you just had your best month ever, why couldn't we follow that up with another best month ever? What's
I
going wrong?
I love that because it's so true. If you actually step back and think about it logically, that it's just going to be up and to the right every month, like improving, revenue or team engagement. This
Yeah.
is not true. And how many times do people just get burnt out riding this roller coaster of, December was great. Oh, January, I'm crushed. And like takes
Yeah,
its
totally.
toll.
And we used to draw it out, the peaks and troughs. And what happens is when you hit the trough, everyone gets really scarcity minded and they try and save their way out of this sort of this dip. But it's actually an abundance mindset that draws you out of the trough and back into the peaks.
Yeah.
And understanding that there are external factors that are contributing to your month, not just the things that you're doing in your clinic. And I think what this chart does is it really highlights the macro, right? So if this is the story for most clinics, most of the time, for most months across most years, then you can get a sense that we probably don't have to do much to have a good March. We don't probably don't have to do much to have a good May, right? Because we can see generally there are macro indicators that are going to say that these months are generally going to be pretty good. But what it does tell us is that where the macro is going to be running against you, in the months that are typically low, there's some really good opportunity here to do more than you normally would to make sure that that month is good. Because if you can buck the trend, you might be able to see a flattening of those peaks and troughs. And so there's two ways to approach this. There's probably three ways actually. The first way would be, what are we going to do to make our good months even better? The second thing is, what are we going to do to make what's typically a challenging month much better? And is the effort to do that worth the results that we get in those challenging months? Or number three, what do we do to do both? What can we be doing to make sure that the good months are better and the bad months, or predictably more challenging months, are less challenging or flatter in their dip?
It's like, what do the best clinics do? And I think part of this, as you said, is asking that question of like, how do we sort of improve our best months? How do we sort of lower the dip in those challenging months or even turn them positive? Melinda Weber did a great session on this at our summit, which is actually available on YouTube. So people should go check that out, especially if you're a PEDS clinic. Um, but I think one of the things is they're looking, 3 months ahead of where they are today, and they're putting in, policies, procedures to address that. They're not dealing with just next week. So
Mm.
they're thinking about that January dip in, October, November. They're thinking about April in, January, February.